Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's not really travel related, but I really wanted to make this video on my experience in the process of being med boarded out the military. So if you are in the process or in talks about being medically separated from the military, stay tuned and watch this video, and hopefully I can answer all your questions that you may have had. If you're new to this channel, my name is Heather. I am a United States veteran. I did 8 years, 1 day in the world's greatest Navy. I built bombs for a living, did missile testing, built rockets and quick strike mines while I did serve in the military. Now, there was a point in time where I had gotten sick while I was in the military. To be quite honest, I feel that the onset of my sickness was from the anthrax vaccinations I did receive prior to my first deployment, because that's when I started to become sick. But we're not really going to focus on that. We're going to focus more on the med board portion of it. So back in 2016 or 2015, I was placed on LIMDU, which is limited duty in the Navy, where you have certain restrictions where you can and cannot do things as far as work-wise goes. And because since it was my second limited duty paperwork that went through, they decided that they were going to med board me. Now what the med board pretty much is medical takes whatever your complaint was or whatever they think you should be med boarded for, and takes it to a medical board. Now the medical board looks at all your paperwork and they look to see, okay, what is the problem? And is this person going to be able to continue service, or do they need time off, and can they return back to service at a later date? So this is how my experience was. So I went up for the med board. I was located at NAS Pensacola, so all my paperwork was done at the Naval Hospital Pensacola. So when you go, you have a person assigned to you, which is like a caseworker. His name is Peblo, P-E-B-L-O, and his job is to make sure all your paperwork is in order, to make sure you have your entire medical record, and to make sure you're signing on all the lines, dotting all the I's, and crossing all the T's. And he's also there to answer any of your questions as far as the process. So when I went to go see him, I signed all the paperwork, and you get sent to doctors. Now, what's cool about this process is that you don't not only get sent to doctors that are going to look at you on the Navy side or the DoD side, you're also getting looked at by the Veteran Affairs side. So I go to these appointments, and what they do based off your condition, for me, I was being rated med boarded for Sjogren's syndrome, which is an autoimmune disease that affects, your eyes and your saliva glands. But I had a lot of other symptoms because of my fibromyalgia and my lupus and several other, autoimmune diseases I had going on. So you go to the doctor and they ask you a bunch of questions. They want you to do like a range of movement. They want to see, can this person successfully be active duty, fit for full duty. So once you go to those appointments, you come back and you submit your paperwork, and then you go to the VA and you have a caseworker there also. Now, what the caseworker does is she goes through your entire medical record, and she will put highlights, sticky notes, anything that she thought could be a claim, she is going to highlight in your medical record. Now, what you have to do is you have to have your own claim list too. So you would have to have needed to go through your medical record or thought of anything that you ever complained about in the military. You come to, your VA representative, your caseworker, and you just say, hey, these are the claims that I have. So altogether, I had 23 claims that I found that I wanted to claim. And at the time, when you think of medical claims, you don't think of dental claims. So you also need to keep that in mind too. I didn't claim any dental. I should have claimed a few dental claims, but I didn't. So my VA rep, she went through her list and she said, okay, well, out of these 23 claims, you can successfully claim 21 of these claims. So she does her paperwork, she submits it. Now the wait time in between everything is about 45 to 60 days before you get anything back. So in that time, you're kind of in limbo. You're just like, okay, am I getting out the Navy? Am I not getting out the Navy? I need to be preparing for what comes next, because if I get out, I'm not going to have a check or anything. You know, I don't even have a job. And at the time, I wasn't even working at all. I was phoning in mustering, which is you call in, you know, if you're military, you know, you phone in and muster. And then I was at home because I was on bed rest. So when the results came back, I was called back to my Pueblo's office, and he said, okay, these are your findings. The DOD rated you, which is the Navy or the military is the DOD. They rated you 100%. And then the VA also rated you 100%. So that was cool and dandy. And pretty much what it means is that the VA itself, if you were outside of the Navy or the military and you went to go file a claim, you know, you have the percentages. But while you're in it, they just do the percentages for you. So you have to actually pick which one you want. Now, if you pick the VA rating 100%, for my case, then all my money and pay will come through the VA. Now, if I did the DOD, I would have been cut a severance check. But the catch with that is that if you take that money, you have to pay it back before you can receive benefits for your, your VA rating. So I decided to take the VA rating because it made more sense, because I only had 8 years in. It wasn't like I was going to get retirement pay from the Navy. But there was also a catch. I wasn't permanently retired. I was put on the temporary retirement list, which is TDRL. So when I found out that, I said, you know what, I want to fight this. I want to be medically retired. I want to get that PDRL. So I put in an appeal, and that took like another 45 days, you know, saying I don't agree, you know, I want to go in front of a board, and I want to present my case. So after I submitted my claim, which would have been about 45 days later, I was notified I needed to go to Washington, D.C. to present my case in front of a board. I got there, and the night before, you're supposed to meet with an attorney or a lawyer, which is some lieutenant person. He told me basically I wouldn't have a fight. If I go up against the board, they're going to make me fit for full duty, and all my benefits that I would have received would go away. So I said, okay, you know what, let me just let this ride. He said, you'll be only on the temporary retirement list for 3 years, and after those 3 years, the Navy's going to call you back and say, hey, are you ready to go back active duty, or are you still sick? So I didn't go to the board the next day. I actually just hung out in Washington, D.C. and took my flight back to my current duty station at NAS. And from there, I started the process of getting out the Navy. The whole process, I would say, took almost a year from start to finish, from the day I was told I was being med boarded up to all my findings, to doing the appeal, to actually getting out. Now, once I got out, I immediately started getting paid by the VA, which is really cool because there are some people that get out the military and there's like years and years before they are even, getting paid by the VA or even getting a rating. And, little old me, I'm 100% straight off the bat, for just one condition. That's really not heard of often. So I did my 3 years, and back in 2018, which would have been my 2-year mark, I received an email from PERS in Millington, Tennessee, which is, the people that do the orders, kind of like Big Navy. That's where their headquarters is at. And the email was just like, hey, we're trying to reach you. Your information wasn't up to date in the system. And I'm just like, yes, it was up to date in the system clearly because you're emailing me, and I never received anything back. So I forgot about that, and back in December, I was like, oh man, we're about to leave really soon. Let me just contact PERS again to make sure that, you know, I don't have no appointments coming up. So I got in contact with my detailer, and she was just like, hey, our bad. We overlooked your name. I'm glad you contacted us, because if you didn't, all your benefits would have stopped, which is basically the TRICARE. I don't get paid by the DOD, so my money wouldn't have been affected. But so I contacted her. She started the ball rolling on me to get my evaluation done, my final evaluation done, which is going to tell me if I'm going back active duty or if I am going to be permanently retired from the military. So I flew out to Virginia this past week, and I went to my medical appointment at Medical Center Portsmouth. I saw a rheumatologist. It was like a quick and easy examination. He asked me, did I feel comfortable going back in the Navy? I said no. I'm not able to do my job based on my medical condition because, you know, I literally can't do my job, and there's not another job I would feel comfortable doing in the Navy. And then he asked a few other questions, and then he, you know, looked at my hands and then touched his, you know, my wrist and did an examination, and he did his write-up and everything. So after that appointment, I go see the TDRL lady at the hospital, and she gives me the form that says, hey, you made it to your appointment, take this back, make sure you email it to your detailer at PERS. So after that, which is now, I am awaiting my final decision as if I am being permanently retired from the military or if they are going to be sending me back active duty. It's clearly up to the board. Even though the doctor can make a recommendation, it's up to, you know, the medical board to say yay or nay. So this is where I'm at right now. 3 years. It used to be a 5-year wait, but now it's only 3 years. And the difference in being on the TDRL and the PDRL is pretty much you're fully retired versus being temporary retired, which is what I was. Only temporary retired for 3 years. I still have my blue ID card, which is my disabled retiree ID card. I still have access to TRICARE for my daughter. Versus if you don't get out permanent retired, if they just medically separate you, then you don't have the ID card, you don't get anything, you just get the severance pay, and then, you know, you're, you know, along your way. So a lot of questions I had and what I was concerned about with the whole process is like the not knowing. Like not knowing what's next. No one could really answer your question. There's not a lot of videos on YouTube that explain the medical board process or what it is or how it works. There's a lot of, you know, different Facebook groups, but a lot of people, you know, their experience is different, and I really couldn't find anything that gave me like the big picture all together. And it was just like, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, make sure you do this. So hopefully this video, making really quick, it will definitely help someone that is going through the process. I just want to let you know that you don't have to be worried about anything. If you're sick, say you're sick. You know, if you don't feel good, let them know, like, you know, this is my life, you know, whatever you're being med boarded for. I've known people, I had another friend that was med boarded for an autoimmune condition, fibromyalgia, and she was also on the TDRL list. And I didn't even know that she was. I thought she was PDRL, and she saw my post recently on Facebook about me flying back from my appointment, and she had gotten out before me, a few months before me, I believe. And they didn't even contact her. And the only thing PERS could say was, oh, my bad, you know, you got overlooked. You know, I'm glad you called because, you know, your benefits would have stopped, which would have only been the TRICARE for her too. So just make sure you're, you know, staying in contact with PERS and you're checking your email. And if you're getting close to your 3-year mark, you need to definitely be contacting Big Navy, which is PERS 45 in Millington, Tennessee. I'm pretty sure it's the same for the Army, the Air Force, and the Marines. You guys may call it something different, but for the Navy, it's definitely PERS. But overall, I wasn't expecting to get out the Navy, but I'm happy that I'm out. I'm able to, live this life with my daughter. I'm able to travel, and I can focus on my health and not have to be stressed out and worried about the mission. So if you have any questions about the medical board or the process, or anything I can help you with as far as what to do or what to say, or questions that you should be asking, you can drop them down in the comment section of this video. I will link a few websites. I will link the PERS website also, and the PERS phone number if you're in the Navy. I'm not sure about the Army and the other branches. But yes, thank you for watching, and hopefully in 4 to 6 weeks I will be officially retired 100% from the United States Navy, and I can continue living my best life. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.